Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Conversations with Carp. I'm Steve Carpenter, Sports Information Director at Hutchinson Community College, and your host for this podcast. While the coronavirus keeps the Blue Dragons off the fields this spring, Conversations with Carp is your way to get your fix for all that is Blue Dragons. And through these conversations with Hutchinson Community College athletic officials, we hope that keeps you in touch with your favorite team. Today, my guest is none other than the head coach of the Blue Dragon women's soccer team, Sammy Lane. Thanks for taking some time today, Sammy.
My pleasure, Carp. Anything to fill the hours since we're all going stir crazy here.
Yours was one of the teams that wasn't directly affected in terms of having games being played, but your spring prep was definitely cut off. So what are you doing to keep your current players in touch with the program and keep them in shape?
Yeah, well, like you said, we were lucky. I mean, all the fall sports really were lucky, and I mean, we'd already began our spring program, and then obviously spring break rolls around, and everything shuts down. But we'd already sent out the workouts, our summer workouts to the kids, so we just encouraged them to start that earlier than they would have, and then try and stay in touch. And we probably touch base every 48 to 72 hours. I'll send them out a message in the group chat, just reminding them to keep up to date with their online studies, obviously, and to stay active. Excuse me, to stay active and stay healthy, and try and do some work with a soccer ball and some work on conditioning. The good news is I'm sure they're so bored and, locked up inside that any chance they do get to go out in the fresh air, they'll take their soccer ball with them.
You better believe it. What about recruiting? This is obviously a new world to an extent for you. We've had a number of international players here over the years in your tenure at Hutchinson. So, FaceTiming and Skyping and using Zoom is something that you're probably somewhat accustomed to.
Yeah, for us, we've always been using the WhatsApp app, especially with the international students, because all calls are free. So that's the one that we kind of we've used for sure. I mean, as far as recruiting, I mean, again, we were lucky in the fact that most, if not all, of our recruiting was done by Christmas. We've signed a couple more since. But, we just got lucky, Carp, in the fact that our season fell when it did, I mean, I've got 2 recruits coming from Ireland. We've got 3 recruits coming from England. We've got a kid coming from Germany, and then we've got another kid coming from Austria by way of Germany. She was born and raised in Germany, but her parents just moved to Austria. And luckily for us, almost all of that was done before, really by Christmas break. We got one of the German kids laid on, but other than that, we were done. All our American recruiting is always, almost always wrapped up by Christmas, just because it seems earlier or anymore, kids are committing earlier and earlier and earlier. You see freshmen and sophomores, verbally committing to schools. And so we literally had it all basically locked down by Christmas this year. So thank God for that.
One of the biggest changes for Blue Dragons women's soccer is the new assistant coach. Tell us about Gonzo a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a brilliant hire for us. I met him a couple of years ago through FC Wichita, and in particular, he was the technical coach for the men's team, and obviously the men's team has been very successful. And, I like Gonzo personally, but I really like the way he ran his practices. And I was there, obviously, with the men's team as well, observing him work. And so, when Jim decided to leave and go to Highland, began to rack my brain, and it just came up with Gonzo. I mean, I think he's, we had him do all the spring practices, so he really touched it or hit the ground running with the girls. The girls got along well with him. The general consensus from all the girls was he knows what he's doing. They liked the fact that he was no nonsense. He came in straight away and kind of basically got on with it. Told the girls his expectations. So I think he's going to be great from the practice standpoint of really being able to help me there. And then obviously he's got some South American connections. So again, anymore in the soccer side of the league, if you look at it, Cloud, Cowley, Barton, those teams that have been successful the last couple of years have all been saturated with South American players. So he'll be a help there for us as well.
Let's take a quick look back to last year. A 12-4 season. A lot of high notes last season. Some good wins. Only 9 goals allowed. Obviously, last season was one of your better defensive teams. Is that a fair assessment?
Oh yeah. Obviously, the more time you have to sit around, you kind of look back in it, and you look at the last game against Cloud at home. If we win that, we're co-conference champions. We've been the 1 seed because of the goal differential. We lead the game 1-0. We dominate the game. We should have scored 2 or 3 in the first half. If we get the second goal, I think the game is over. Cloud obviously has got some talented players, and you leave talented players hanging around enough, they can make something happen. Equalizer came out of the blue. Our goalkeeper last year didn't make too many mistakes, but I think, that one obviously was a critical one. So you go from winning a conference title to finishing second, bitterly disappointing, and then we turn around the following week and we play Butler, and you look at the stats in that game. I think I remember looking at the board one time in the second half, and it was 14 shots to 4, and their 4 shots went in. Or 3 of the 4, had gone in, and then we've got a great chance to equalize late on, but I look back and reflect, and it's just a season of what could have been. I thought we had the talent definitely to win the West and to compete for a region title. Cowley ended up representing us in the districts, and their closest game was Dodge City, and we hammered Dodge City twice. So it was just a frustrating one because we really did, we were so close to being successful. But in the end, it's 12-4, and it is what it is.
You bet. You are the only head coach in Blue Dragons women's soccer history. It dates back 15 seasons, 214 wins over those 15 seasons, 5 conference titles, 3 region championships. Look, can you believe it's been 15 years? I sat in on your hiring committee.
Yeah, I know, Carp. Where is the time gone? I remember, like you said, you sat in the hiring committee. We were upstairs in the sports arena. I had my little desk over there staring across from you. You had to listen to You'll Never Walk Alone being blared out of my speakers every day. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy where the time has gone. I think I'm the oldest serving coach now behind Jamie, if I'm not mistaken.
Chris Young. Chris Young.
Oh, Chris Young's got me?
Yep, he's got 20 in on you.
Has he really?
Yes.
Wow. But yeah, no, the time, I guess it did say, it flies by when you're having fun. Especially when you get a little bit older, the time goes quicker. You seem to cherish the memories a little bit more. I wish, looking back in it, hindsight, obviously 2020, I'd give this advice to any young coaches out there. Enjoy the moments, enjoy the victories. Because when you get older, you really, I look back, and especially some of the great teams we had here, I wish I'd enjoyed the time I spent with them more instead of being so freaking driven to try and win a national title and all that other stuff. I wish I'd enjoyed the journey with them a little bit more. Not to say that we didn't, but, just to really enjoy it. And I think that's the part the last couple of years that I've tried to do, was to enjoy what I'm doing, because let's be honest, we're blessed. Not every day a man gets to wake up and go coach college soccer for a living. And to do it at an institution like ours, with the facilities we have, with the support we have, with people like you, people like Gooch, Randy before Gooch. You reflect on the 15 years and you realize just how lucky you are. hopefully I've got another 10 left in me, so whoever comes after that, Carp can chase my records forever. That would be nice, buddy. Maybe you and me can go out together.
Well, I'll probably be around for the next two soccer coaches. I'm never leaving. But never a losing season in Blue Dragon women's soccer history. The closest was 10-9 in the inaugural year of 2005. That in and of itself is impressive.
Yeah, that first year was probably one of the best years I ever had because, if you look at all the other programs that have since started up or even that started up around the same time as us, I think it was 2 of us or 3 of us that year, to go in and win that many games the first year and finish above 500 was a credit to the kids. I'm not sure too many other programs could do that now. We'll see. You never know. But yeah, that's something that I'm proud of. Actually, I didn't even know that till you just mentioned it now, so I'm half lost for words. But that's something I'm obviously proud of. When you start a program, it's kind of yours. You know what I mean? It's like my baby. So I guess maybe the wins mean a little bit more. I can tell you the losses mean an awful lot more to you. But that's something I'm proud of. Hopefully that'll continue for a few more years. It would be a disaster if we had a losing season.
Another thing that this program has always been known for is being able to nurture and bring along local talent. We've had players like Alicia Robinson, Melissa Hetherington, Danny Sheehy. That list is long and proud. But there's also a list of players like Steph Franz, like Jordan Downing, Jasmine Hartshorn. There's just, Brayley Mader.
Yeah.
There's just so many local kids that you've been able to recruit here, and they have had very high success.
And that's something that's, very, very important to me. I think you've got to blend, you've got to get local kids, and we're fortunate, very fortunate actually, in Hutchinson to be able to have local kids who can really come in and contribute to the program. Like you mentioned, Francie could have played in any team. Downing, set the single school record for goals in 1 year. Brayley, Addie White, Jasmine, we've been very, very fortunate that our local kids have been some of our better players. And I just think that's important. Whatever sport, whatever level you're at, you hear about that in professional sports where it's important to have local players to the community, and then you build from out of state and out of city and out of country. It's something I'm really, really proud of, Carp. It's something that's important to me, and we're going to have a couple more this year. Deania Gray from Hutch, I think will have a big, big impact on our program. We've signed, some people will be familiar with the name. We signed Madison Anchez. The last name anyway, so she's going to come and play for us. She plays for Nickerson, and then Aspen, Alpha, the goalkeeper from Nickerson as well. So again, we're adding to that local talent, and I expect all 3 of them to be able to come in and play for us and be very successful again.
Yeah, obviously. For you, soccer is like baseball for me. Driven from a very young age to follow that sport. We're not going to mention that dastardly Man U team that you despise so much, but where did the love for Liverpool come from?
God, it's an interesting question because my dad and my brother were both Manchester United fans. My brother is still a rabid Manchester United fan, and my dad was a Manchester United fan till the day he died. So I don't know, maybe it was I wanted something opposite of them. But I can remember to this day, I'm sitting here on the couch talking to you, and I remember so just vividly, my dad come home from work, and I couldn't wait for him to come home from work because he'd shoot, because I was a goalkeeper, and we had a goal made in the backyard, and he'd shoot the ball at me for 10 or 15 minutes, and it was the highlight of my day, and but he used to always pretend to be Manchester United players, and he'd be, Stapleton to Greens, and and Dennis Law with the shot, and I used to always imagine I was the Liverpool goalkeeper trying to make those saves. So I mean, it's just something I've done since I've been a little boy. You know, we were like a bit like the Yankees there for a while. When I was growing up, they had 14 titles in 19 years, and now it's been 30 since they won one. So the love affair has lasted a long, long time, and it'll continue to last. There's no changing it now.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. So obviously, you played. You're from Ireland. You played your college soccer at Sterling College, and tell us some Wichita Wings stories. You were with the great Wings teams of the past.
I'm trying to think of what would be the PG stories. No, I had some brilliant times with the Wichita Wings. Obviously, got really lucky to be able to call a soccer icon like Roy Turner one of my best friends. Kevin Cooley he played for Liverpool. He was the captain of the Liverpool reserves. He was there with all the great players before he came to America. To think he hired me to be his assistant coach for the Wichita Wings, and I consider him a great, great friend. The Wings, I've just been incredibly lucky that I got to call people that I actually really looked up to and idolized. Kim Munford, I idolized Kim when I was in college watching the man play, and to think they became great friends of mine is something that I'll cherish. I remember me and Kevin Cooley were playing chess, and it just became us and Rasmussen were playing chess, and we were sitting in the hotel in Baltimore. And we had the chessboard set up, and so Kevin puts me, and I'm like, I'm in stalemate. He goes, "No, you have to move, Johnny." And I'm like, "I can't move." I said, "I can't move into check, so it's a draw." And Kevin he never beat me in chess, so he goes, "You have to move." And I'm like, "No, it's the draw." And he goes, "Johnny, there's no effing draws in chess." And he picks up the chessboard, and he flung it all the way across the hotel room, splatters all over the wall, chess pieces everywhere. And that was the night before we played Baltimore, and we didn't play Baltimore till 7:30 the next night. So for 24 hours, me and Kevin sat in the same hotel room and stared straight ahead of the wall and didn't even speak to each other. But I think that's probably the memories that the biggest thing I took back from that when I look back at it now was how competitive those guys were about everything every day. Like training was incredibly intense and competitive, and they all wanted to win. And like we'd play international against American, or we play young versus old, and the last 10 minutes of practice, and man, that was some of the most intense stuff. And I think that's something that I really learned, and you know what, more of our young players could learn it, is you have to have a hatred of losing and a competitive desire to win. And that's something like these guys were the best soccer players in America at the time, and some of the best in the world. Rasmussen, Per Christensen, Jørgen. They all played for the Danish national team. Kim's brother was captain of Denmark and played 80 times for the national team. But these guys hated to lose, and it could be over a simple 2-a-side or a 5-a-side or heck tennis or whatever it was. They gave it all, and they absolutely despised losing. So, I think that's something. Luckily for me, it was kind of beaten into me then from that young age when I was with the Wings. So sometimes maybe when some people see me in the sidelines ranting and raving, that might explain some of the hatred I have for losing.
Well, like I said, you the only soccer coach in Blue Dragon history, and I consider it a privilege to call you a friend, and thank you everything for you do for the Blue Dragons.
Cap, that goes both ways, buddy. Like I said, you and me have been together a long time, and more than just on the professional side of it. It's great to be around people like yourself. You're a good man. You care about sports. You care about all sports. You care about Blue Dragons, and likewise, Cap, I'm proud to call you my friend as well, buddy. And hopefully, we got many more years together.
Indeed. Thanks for taking some time to talk to us.
Absolutely, and. Stay safe, everybody, and I'll look forward to seeing everybody again, hopefully in the fall. And, where we go. Go Blue Dragons.
That's head coach Sammy Lane of the Blue Dragon women's soccer team. And that'll wrap up another edition of Conversations with Carp. We'll talk to you again soon. So long, everybody.